Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40k Universe. I am your host Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about the orcs in the form of freebooters. We're going to be talking about notable freebooter captains or freebooter orcs. So let's get into 40 facts about the freebooters. As a lowly orc soldier on the kill cruiser in the Corbus Expanse, the orc known as Boram loved the thrill of boarding enemy ships with his freebooter crew, the Bone Skulls. He earned a reputation for brutality in those boarding actions against the Imperial ships. Blasting Umis was a skill that he excelled at, and he was chosen to personally accompany his captain on a raid against the frigate Hammer of Heresy. When the orcs boarded the ship, the fighting was fierce, and Boram and his freebooter captain became separated from the other raiders below deck. Unbeknownst to the captain, Boram had his sights on bigger things for himself, and used the chaos of combat to plunge his chopper deep into the back of his leader. After dispatching the defenders, Boram made his way back to the raiding party, wearing the captain's oversized hat on his head and shooter at his side. The other boys didn't seem to care much about the change in command, as the plunder was great. Boram easily assumed control of the kill cruiser Gork's Gilbo Grinder and set off to make a name for himself in the Expanse. Since taking control of the Bone Skulls freebooters, Boram has launched numerous successful raids against merchants and naval targets, ready for plunder. He is currently planning a large-scale assault on the shipping lanes near the mall, confident this would draw many more recruits under his name. The first freebooter to fall in line with Warlord Gruk Faceripper and his Red Wa was Dakbad Firegut and his pirates. He formed the vanguard of the Orc Raiders. Dakbad's void ships had spent standard years raiding the world surrounding Iraq with reckless violence, typical of any freebooter worth his bloodthirsty reputation. When Gruk offered the captain a chance to share in the riches of battle, Dakbad did not take long to convince. Those worlds that had once been too well defended or too strong for the freebooters' fleet now fell under the meaty fist of Gruk. Firegut met his hand upon the world of Osteria, the chapter homeworld of the Obsidian Glaives Space Marine chapter. He was charged by Gruk to test the formidable defenses of their fortress monastery, the Penumbra Spike. Leading a force of over 250,000 greenskins, Firegut led a massive assault upon the formidable citadel, but ultimately the orcs were wiped out by the surviving Obsidian Glaives and their formidable reinforcements comprising of 11 dreadnoughts. Firegut met his end at the hands of their chapter master, Midness. After 15 years of raiding Winterscale's realm, Grubscrab the Unstoppable was returned to Undra Teeth, a track of systems at the heart of the Accuser's Dems. This is a nest and breeding ground for orcs. Grubstraga's return was met with heavy fire from guns of vessels commanded by orc loyal to their Moregash or Naga. Since then, Grubstrag has proven to be a match for both rivals, despite lacking the sheer numbers of Moregash growing fleet or the resources that Snagger controls. Grubscrabs is an exceptionally cunning creature, and though not as belligerent or ruthless as Moregash, his grasp of naval strategy is remarkable for an orc after years spent clashing against humans and Eldar fleets, observing their tactics. Grubscragga wanted to control Undra Teeth, and to do so he'd have to kill Moregash and Snagger, or possibly supplant one and use his newfound resources to defeat the other. Force of arms is not an option, so the leader may ally with one temporarily, looking for a chance to betray his boss. The world of Tyrax IV hosted a small mining colony near the northern border of the Cornus Expanse. A group of Imperial settlers established the outpost to take advantage of the rich promethium veins located deep within the planet. When the miners detected an unknown ship entering the outskirts of the system, they attempted to hail it. They only served to alert the kill cruiser Krob's Crusher to their location. The next month would become what one colonist distress call referred to as Hell Unleashed, as Krod's boys took great delight in slaughtering the miners while the captain's mech boys performed all manners of experiments to discover the various use of promethium. Crod became increasingly more and more demanding for vast stores of promethium to be mined, and he worked his crew round the clock to harvest all he could. His trusted weirboys continually asserted that a terrible danger was rapidly approaching. Finally, Crod gathered his boys and left the world a shattered, broken shell. The excessive mining had destabilized the veins of promethium running deep in the core of the world, and his ship left orbit as the planet exploded. The massive explosion rained debris throughout the system and crippled 3 of the Xeno ships that had made their escape. Crod had not been seen or heard from in decades since the world's destruction, and many wonder if he fell victim to his own greed on Tyrex 4. Moregash Kograz is one of the most prominent freebooters in the Cornus Expanse, who is making a bid for the overall leadership of the Orc worlds within the region known as Undra Teeth. Moregash is a cunning and ambitious freebooter captain. The brutal orc leader first appeared in the Cornus Expanse aboard a heavily damaged Space Hulk, the Fist of Gork. Although barely space-worthy, the Hulk was filled with loot from the parts of the galaxy unknown. None could say how long the Space Hulk had drifted in the warp before arriving at Undra Teeth, but Moregash impressed arrivals was just the beginning of his rise to power. A cunning master of ship-to-ship combat, Moregash wrestled control of the largest and most powerful ship in the system, a massive battlecruiser named the Worldbreaker. Moregash then got a crew of the strongest, most aggressive boys from the other captains, including as many of the psychic orc weird boys as he could. The Worldbreaker quickly became a ship as legendary as its captain, a nightmarish sight that caused panic among smugglers and rogue traders alike. In the region, Moregash had struck quickly and forcefully in every raid, allowing handfuls of survivors to spread the infamy across the expanse. Armed with weapons of baleful and bizarre cast, the Worldbreaker is constantly surprising its enemies. It is not often that captains of freebooter crews are also skilled in one of the various odd boys disciplines. Rekha is one of those rare exceptions, and is a mech that rose to command his own crew and ship. From the bridge of his battlecruiser, Gorkius Mex, this cunning greenskin has carved a path of plunder throughout the southwest sector of the Cornus Expanse, all while continuing to create new orc technology for his boys to use. One of his most notable claims to fame amongst the freebooters is the development of a massive ship-mounted shock attack gun. Like its smaller, shoulder-mounted counterpart, this massive weapon opens a tunnel between 2 points through the warp. Rekha uses this weapon to send hordes of boys into the enemy ship. This sudden appearance of scores of greenskins inside the secured area of a ship catches the defenses off guard and gives the freebooters a defensive advantage in boarding actions. Rekha has also created special helmets for his warriors to wear that help shield them from the horrors of the warp tunnel, though often sending helmetless boys into the battle works just as well for him. This whirling doom has crippled at least 3 human warships, making Rekha one of the most wanted freebooters in the Expanse. Scav Cobb has a deserved reputation amongst the freebooters as a Roit sneaky git, but he also has brute strength and warrior skills to thrash any orc that gets on his bad side. When on a mission, Scav Cobb camouflages himself by strapping pieces of scrap and debris over his armor, and creating wires across his chest. The commando is particularly proud of his helmet, fashioned from the Imperial Terminal, though it's questionable if this tactic actually contributes. Scav Cobb is an undeniably effective saboteur. In battle, Scav Cobb favors weapons he calls the Neck Cutter, a vicious double-ended chain knife looted from a forsaken world upon which no sane being would tread. Skullcap Grazlets is as dangerous as any orc boss, and almost impossible to stop once in combat. As with many freebooters, Grazlet's armor is tailored and accessorized to mimic that of an Imperial Navy officer. Whether this is a true imitation or another example of the orc's instinctive knowledge, no one can say. Like any good orc, Grazletz prefers to lead from the front, ripping enemies apart with his power claw or looping heads off with his crude yet effective chain axe. Grazletz gets a particular kick out of slaying enemy captains, generally making such deaths as messy as possible, to remind the boys who's in charge. Claiming to be centuries old and having fought in the last war, Snagger, more bad, is really only clinging to power. Though perhaps not as old as he claims, Snagger is old, and while he retains the massive frame and powerful physique of his youth, something about him failed long ago, and the captain is quite mad. His insanity has taken its toll, and he is easily distracted and often forgetful of simple matters, though still possessed of a fearsome rage that has left piles of corpses in his wake. Clad in a colossal suit of mega armor, Snagger remains a terrifying opponent, so long as he remains lucid enough to fight. Snagger's dominance of the orbits of Tusk has forced Grubscrap and Moregash to establish bases of operation elsewhere. Zod Grob Warsnagger is an infamous orc runt herder who was exiled from the Snakebites clan and became an orc freebooter, selling the services of his mercenary band of enhanced Gretchen known as the Super Runts to desperate orc warbosses and warlords in need of troops. Old Zogwarts is the only freebooter of sorts, but one of the most powerful warpheads in existence. He travels from battle to battle, looking for places where Wa psychic energy flows like waterfalls. He has seen great battles, and he soaks them up, reviling in his power until a bolt of green lightning flies from his eyes and turns his foes into squigs. And those were 40 facts about the Freebooters. Which one of these captains did you guys like the most? But wait, don't comment yet. I have a huge favor to ask of you guys. Please go in the comment section and comment what topic you guys would like One Mind Syndicate to discuss in the upcoming Warhammer 40k lore videos. It probably will be posted within the next couple weeks. But on top of commenting, another huge favor is please read all the other comments, and if you see a topic that you really like, or a similar one to, or the exact same one that you commented on, please hit the like button on that specific comment, so that I know that that's what you guys want to hear, because that's what that's the whole purpose of us putting out content. We want to create content for you guys, so please let us know what you guys want to hear about, and once you do that, we'll get on our way to creating more awesome 40k lore. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people who put in Sly Marbo, and you could do that, but that video is going to be really short. Epic, but short. So please comment down below. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that you do. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you in the next episode. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.